Good afternoon and welcome to another interesting episode of Standpoint. I am Veronica Danny Boy. In a society of strong men and weak institutions where politicians are often perceived as bad losers, election time in Nigeria often leaves politicians in a dilemma. They are often torn between party supremacy and their personal ambition when it comes to entrenching internal democracy. With the 2019 general election inching closer, political parties are making preparations to ensure they put their houses in order so as to emerge victorious in the polls. But political watchers are worried over recent happenings in the political sphere, which they say are pointers to what the 2019 elections may look like. On the show today, we will be beaming our searchlight on intra-party politics and internal democracy in Nigeria ahead of the 2019 general elections. And with me in the studio to discuss is a politician, a member of the APC, Honorable Jamila Bolanle Moazu Olukosi, and also in the studio is a researcher and social commentator, Cyril Abako. Thank you for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
While spotlighting the fallout of the APC World Congresses and the Ekiti governorship primaries conducted by two of Nigeria's biggest political parties, it is glaring that politicians are still very much in the business of sacrificing the interests of the country, their parties and their friends on the altar of their personal ambitions. 2019 election is just months away and politicians are already playing dirty. How will this influence the outcome of that election? I'll start with you, Honorable. Now, the road to 2019 seems to be getting clearer by the day, especially stemming from the congresses that held one that was rescheduled or that took place and had to be rescheduled, talking about the Ekiti APC primaries and that of the PDP. But then the road seems to be getting clearer by the day. Now, would you say that these congresses met democratic standards?
With my view, I'm not going to say that is up to the standard because personal interest is involved. And when we want to talk about internet democracy, actually is not really in place. It's ensured in the sense that the kingsmaker are always having their ways. That is where we're having a lot of political differences in many states. And when we look vividly into the Ekiti elections, we could see that there are so many aggrieved members in the sense that they believe that the power mongers, let's just say the oligarchy, they are seeing it as a way of trying to make their interest, which I can say they're aspiring to emerge in all ways. So when we look at that, I don't think that internal democracy is entrenched.
But Cyril, the World Congresses are meant to actually show internal democracy, but stemming from what the Honorable has said, it obviously did not reflect that. What we saw more of was a selection process instead of an elective process.
In fact, you know, we saw it play out in Adamawa, we saw it play out in Imo, we saw it play out in Rivers, we saw it play out in Ekiti. In fact, in some of these states, these clashes, if that is what we call them, began to assume very dangerous, very sinister, very deadly proportions. Yesterday alone, we saw that the party headquarters in Imo State had been razed to its very foundations, had been burnt down. We saw how the former SGF, Babashir Lawal, you know, got on collusion course with the other faction in the party in Adamawa State. Last week's episode in Ekiti is an entire book by itself. And I think that if you look at the broader picture of the Nigerian political space, quite frankly and sadly speaking, everything that is wrong with our political process, from the rigging of elections, to the overall bad governance, to corruption, to you just name it, you can trace it neatly and safely back to the fact that we have groups of people that want to go by the name of political party. You know, they say charity begins at home.
Well, yeah.
And because the political system traces its very family, its family unit to the political party, they've come together to say they're political parties. But even the basic character of what a political party should be or should look like, which is about people who are like-minded, is lacking. And so it becomes a case of, let's come together, let's aggregate ourselves together, let's have a unit, and let's use this unit to garner as much as we can garner for ourselves in the broader society. You will have these clashes, Veronica, because you see, if the challenges within the party are internal, there is enough externally to make these issues continue. In Ekiti, for instance, last week, how many people are contesting for the post of governor?
About 20, about 30 something?
No, as at last Saturday, they were 33.
Yes.
33 or 34.
Yes, until Senator Judu pulled out.
Exactly.
About 33 of them. Tell me why we won't fight when you have 300 million naira, money that that you won't account for, coming under your control every month. In some states, you even have up to as much as 1 billion naira. So you can say that the stakes are high, and we don't have the system to, to put things in check. That's why having this problem.
We're getting live feeds from the Ekiti Congress. It was rescheduled to hold today, and a governorship Congress and our political correspondent, our senior political correspondent, Ayodele Ozugbaku, is standing by to bring us up to speed with what is going down there. Ayo, all right, I hear Ayo is not standing by, but earlier he said the process has begun in terms of registering of delegates has begun, and obviously we can see that things seem to be going on smoothly so far and orderly. Well, delegates are said to be voting now at the moment, but then we will get back to Aya to bring us up to speed with what is currently going on in Ekiti. All right, so let's get back to what we are discussing in the studio. Honorable, how much of a danger does this pose for our election, seeing that we have an election coming up in 2019?
What I'm thinking now is that we're going to have a lot of aggrieved members and a lot of aggrieved aspirants, because I don't think that internal democracy is in place as we speak. As we speak now, we have election going on in Lagos State. I'm not even only in Lagos State, in all over the country, in terms of All Progressive Congress. We're having LGA Congress going on as we speak, which I'm supposed to be there. But because of this, I couldn't make it. But I have my people over there. And with what I'm gathering, I could see that internal democracy is not in place. We have so many members that are actually APC members, candidates, that actually they're vying to be one of the AGA members, that they actually exercise their franchise by actually purchasing the forms. And because of the power mongers and the oligarchy ways of our political system, they weren't able to even have a card to go to the venue.
Really?
I am telling you as you speak. Those are the information that I'm gathering when I was out there. I have so many members that have already purchased the ticket and they weren't allowed to enter the venue.
Why?
Because, actually, let me just say it, I'm from Surrey Constituency 1. That is where my political base is. We have a problem there. What my colleagues has just said, we're having issues because when you believe that you have the utmost powers to do whatever you like, that is what is going on. If you're not with me, then you can participate in whatever is going on in the party. So that is what we're saying, because those that are aggrieved, those people that are against the incumbent, let me just say it, they weren't allowed to exercise their franchise because they believe that you're not with me, so there's no way you can vote.
But there are rules guiding the conduct of all of these processes.
That's what they're not doing. That is why
supposed to be subject to.
Exactly, but
So
that is
why
not.
is that not happening from your point of view? Why do you think it's not happening?
I think what I see is a lot of people are not educated to that level. So that's where we have the problem.
How do you mean?
What I'm saying that they don't know the
processes?
constitution of the party. They don't know the constitution of the party, and they're not educated to the internal democracy, because what they have been told is to follow the system. And when we talk about the party structure, it's actually different from the internal democracy. So basically, most people believe that we have to follow the party structure in the sense that every individual have their interests. Each constituency have their own structure, which is not supposed to be. It should be a party structure, and it should be internal democracy that we all have to follow.
A party structure and internal democracy has to be in tandem, Cyril.
Exactly.
So why are we separating it? How did we get to this point?
No, you see, there's something they call the party line. The party line basically attempts to bring together issues of ideology, issues of the policies of the party, issues of the law within the party, issues of, let's even add seniority, leadership. You know, when you look at the spirit of a particular party, why will somebody look at himself and say that he may be qualified academically to run for governor in the party, but he may not be able to, but he would rather not offer himself up because of the party, because of the outlook in the party. It's called party line. But you see, much of what we call the party line today is just like she has said, a question of one or two persons. That thing is called godfatherism. There are one or two persons, yes, there are one or two persons who have the money, okay, and who have the money and who feel that they are entitled, they have a sense of entitlement, that even if it's an animal farm, some animals will be more equal than others. And like she has said, apart from when you have an election cycle, when else have you ever seen any political party carry on enlightenment, carry out party sensitization or voter sensitization? They don't do it. But this was the same country when in the Second Republic, people, as part of your civic responsibility, the way you have your driver's license, the way you have your membership card of, your ID card of where you work, you responsibly also are supposed to belong to a political party, have a party card, and pay dues. But today, there's a deep pocket somewhere, a money bag, who perhaps feels that, you know, he has brought the party to this particular vicinity or area, and so everything that has to happen in the party must pass through him. He has the money, and you see, because you can't push it too far, even if you thought you knew the party law and you could pull one or two strings, assuming they got to the venue, and we saw what happened in Ekiti.
Exactly.
Where people came up and started kicking ballot boxes, and what can you do? What can you do? So I think it goes beyond and that's why, because our parties are like this, when they say, for instance, that Veronica can win elections in Mushin, let's put her up there, but she cannot secure the party's ticket popularly.
Exactly.
So if you cannot win elections in the party, how do you expect Nigerians to vote if people who are bringing don't have plans to rig the election? Why should you rig the elections for a candidate that you feel will win publicly, fair and square? So these are the issues.
That's exactly.
The fact is that, you see, even if you had control mechanisms, as you were asking her, that are there no laws and are there no systems put in place, you can look at the constitution of the PDP, of the APC, and all of that, and find very far-reaching, very broad-based provisions for redress, provisions for, you can, exactly. like in Adamawa, I think, where some people wrote petition and there was an appeals committee. Of course, so they will make all these provisions there, but the fact is that in the end, you cannot go against the tide. Particularly in our Nigerian milieu, it is difficult to go against the tide and succeed. And that's why the moment people lose in elections, she talked about defection, they move out. But whether they lose fair or square, they say, look, this party, we have seen it, the night before, they were praising the party as being the savior of the people. As soon as they lose the primaries, they say, look, we are moving out, we have been cheated, why? Because they don't trust the party to bring justice to them. So they have to go look for one of the lesser parties.
exercising their franchise.
Exactly.
So that is it.
But then this is kind of deepening the crisis, opening wounds or causing wounds. And here we have election ahead of us. How do people, the people who are also supposed to benefit from these processes, that's the masses now, how do they get to enjoy the dividends of the said democracy that we practice? Honorable.
The only way we can enlighten them, the masses, is by educating them towards the elections. Because, like my colleague said, we have the power mongers. That's not the only thing. We have people that have that financial capability to transcend any other odds, in the sense that having money doesn't mean you are popular in your constituency or in a state. It's all by, when there's some people that are popular, but because they don't have the means, they have difficulties in showing what they can offer. And what the masses believe in is what you can offer me right now. They're not seeing the future or what is going to be the outcome of what they're doing. Because we have so many low-class people. And if you want to try to look at it in a broader view, we see that the lower-class people are more than the influence and the rich and the elite. So whereby those people, we have problem in trying to understand what is going on. That is when we see we have differences in the party. And when the person that is not popular emerge, we start having problem. So those are the things the party, various parties need to look into, because we're trying to move ahead and make people to believe there is internal democracy in place, which is actually not in place. That is why we see so many people go to redress, in the sense that when we have issues, when the leaders are not looking into it, there will be so many problems. So I don't think there's a way. Let me just say, I don't think there's a way. There should be a way to let the masses know they're right. You see, like you said, the power mongers and the people with money are the people out there showcasing their talent, whereby those people that don't have the means are left out. That's why you see people move out of parties and go into other parties, because they want to show what they can offer. But when they're not allowed to show what they can offer, they move to another party.
Well, let's quickly take this short break and the discussion will continue. Stay with us. You're still watching Standpoint. Let's head briefly to Ekiti State again, where the APC delegates are casting their votes to choose the party's flag bearer for the July the 14th governorship election. 32 aspirants are still in the race, who will emerge victorious at the end of the exercise, with Ibi Sheguni, Kayode Fayemi, or a new face. Well, as at the last time this Congress was supposed to happen, some of the reasons why it was disrupted was the fact that some said that a particular candidate had induced some delegates, and so we saw the free-for-all that took place, kicking of ballot boxes, some level, and people have said that this is not good for democracy. Honorable.
Yeah, it is not good for democracy. Actually, what you can figure out of what transcends in Ekiti, I'm sure that they know more than I do, in the sense that the primary took place in a closed place, in the sense that they know what actually transpired there, in the sense that they see that there's let me just say, oligarchy is actually in place there, in the sense that there is a favorism going on there. So I think what they believe they can do, which actually I think is actually wrong, by disrupting the the process of the election. They should have allowed the process to go on and then go back to the law of the political party. Whatever they see that went wrong there, then they have a time to go out there and then go out there and aggrieved and tell their mind to people to know that this is what transpired there. So I'm not going to be in support of the hoodlums and the way of disrupting the process. So that's what I can say for now.
Well, Cyril, Babafemi Judu had to pull out. He said it wasn't transparent. And I'm wondering, what could be the underlining, that statement? He's saying that it wasn't transparent, despite the fact that we saw that the delegates went to cast their ballots, but then it wasn't, to him, this whole process wasn't transparent enough, and so he had to step aside. And now this process has come up again. What do you envisage happening this time around?
Well, it is difficult to say. For me, I think that first of all, as a matter of first principles, politics should be for principled men, but again, a lot of bargaining, a lot of negotiations, a lot of backroom dealing sometimes, does happen, if you know what I mean. Yes, because interests will have points of convergence, and sometimes they also have points of divergence. You can't take that away. So for me, I think if any of the candidates had done his homework properly, and a process that was being beamed on live television was going on, it would only have been nice, as she said, for us to have seen the process to its logical conclusion. In fact, somebody was even saying that the 5 local governments that had voted before the process was stopped, that they should have called the results. Because what happened was that somebody said that he was in poll, and then apparently called for the termination of the process. And the person who was said to be losing was saying that the process should continue. I have no dog in the fight. But my concern is that I think we need to draw the line between where you are losing or where you've not done your homework well and you're losing out. Once people have come to the open, whether it is stomach infrastructure or not, once people have come to the open and they are voting, whoever wins was the best mathematician.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that should we can't take anything away from that. But the Ekiti crisis or the Ekiti issue is deeper than what you see, because where you have, I was talking about party line earlier, where you have 32 to 33 people vying for office. Yes, I was going
to go to the number of persons.
Look, forget about the issue of party, of internal democracy. Everybody should have a field day. There is a clear failure of leadership.
It is.
Yes, because you see,
right.
I think somebody had been in charge, and that was what happened in Ekiti. Someone had been in charge of the party structure for some time and was clearly going to get perhaps the better of or the best of the other candidates. And then it would appear that, because in Ekiti, if you look at it, they say that every home has a professor. Yeah. There is this mutual feeling of who is this person that they should think is better than I am. And apparently, the sort of control or leadership that the party elders would be able to effectively bring to bear in Lagos and perhaps Osun, and perhaps the extension maybe Ondo State, is lacking in Ekiti. So someone is perhaps in charge of the affairs of the party in the state, but you see, people feel that we are all on the same level.
Yes.
So whatever you have, I have. Whatever I can prove, I want to prove. That is what has happened. It's a failure of leadership. Where a party has laid down procedures, and yes, and I'll come back to the issue of party line. Some persons naturally will know that. Now, some of those contests are not vying because they know they can win. Some of them may not even be able to get up to 3 or 4 or 5 votes.
Is it a test of popularity?
Just you see, exactly. But there are other calculations. If I can't be governor, I should be commissioner. Let me vie. There should be discussions around collapsing interests. Collapsing interests. So that even if at the end of the day we were left with about 5 candidates, it would have been better, more manageable. Because after last week's primary was cancelled and it was shifted to, I think, yesterday.
And then it was
And
they had to
shifted
shift it
today
to
again.
today. And the party elders were calling for direct primary. I'm not sure that that's what they're doing there. So you can see that even when a winner emerges in Ekiti today, if it happens to them, I pray that it does happen. I am not sure that Ekiti APC as it is, or even national APC as it is, will be able to come together to form a common front to confront the PDP and any other party that's going to bring out a candidate.
Let me ask Honorable if she shares.
So effectively, we are going to be having
same,
polarities going into that election from
do you share the same
APC
view
itself.
with him on this matter in terms of having a consensus as in a candidate that everybody will agree to at the end, as in the outcome of the result, like he rightly pointed out?
I believe I will support what he's saying.
Seeing
in the sense that
what is happening,
what is happening, I believe what he's saying is true in the sense that there will still be aggrieved aspirants. I'm just telling you this. There will still be aggrieved aspirants. And you know that when you are in a party or you're a party member or you're an aspirant in a state, you need collective support from everybody. Once you don't get that, there will be a lot of differences. And that could affect the party at the long run. So what he's saying is actually right. Because the party structure is not actually helping all the aspirants.
He also mentioned failure of leadership in Ekiti. Is that really the challenge for the APC in Ekiti State, and why is that happening? Because for a majority of persons believe that even collectively as a whole, Nigeria, that the failure, our problem or our challenge is about the failure of leadership.
Exactly. The leadership in a state, or let's just say in a party, everybody have individual interest in one particular aspirant or the other. Once that personal interest is there, obviously the leadership is not working for everybody. Because in a party, we have individual interest. Oh, my person must be the governor. My person must be the governor.
Okay.
So that's actually personal interest is in place. So obviously, like I said, they will have difficulty in facing the PDP in Ekiti because of the differences they are having in the party structure.
All right, we have Larry on the line calling from Lagos. Go ahead with your contribution. Larry, okay, as soon as you can connect with us, do call back again, Cyril.
Yes, I was going to add that I think this same thing happened in 2014. Now, there is the legitimacy of a personal interest. And then there is the immorality. We can't take it away. There is the immorality of a personal interest. These are two things. In 2014, after Okpemi Bamidele lost to Fayemi in the primaries, I think he defected and went to Labour. And that was a defining blow. It was, in fact, it was the determining factor because you see, once the APC vote, or was the APC, ACN then? No, I think it was the APC.
It's APC
yes,
divided.
Once the APC vote was divided. It made Fayose to make a lot of inroads. Yes, so it goes without saying. For me, I think that, you see, people, and that's, again, it comes down to the question of our maturity, our evolution, our ideology, party line, and so on. Where people have not learned where they should subject or submit their personal interest to a larger interest, there's a problem.
Of course.
But where they are being cheated out of their own right, even the Bible says that God forbids it. Okay, so they are right. So I mean, they can do it if you feel that you're popular enough to go out of the party and to go to, let's say, XYZ party and win elections overnight. I mean, if you can do it, it's fine. We do it in Lagos, in Kaduna, and so that. Yes, and other places. Yes,
Different parts of the country.
So, but you see, some people simply know that they cannot win. They know they cannot get so far. But if you cannot get so far, what is the love you have for your party? By deliberately creating a mechanism, a system that reduces the chances of your party winning.
Okay, if you could just hold the thought. We have Femi on the line. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm calling from Ondo State.
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
Let me add it to you. I want to contribute with what is happening on the street. Let me tell you, what is happening there, especially now in the state, I was not surprised. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, we can hear you.
There is no internal democracy as far as APC party is concerned. Nobody wants to bow down for the leadership of the party. Are you hearing me clearly? They went there for endocentric. They are not here to serve. I will ask you. The reason why I'm saying this. The former governor of the state, he refused to win his polling unit in his IPT. My mother is from IPT. I know it very well. The same thing said, why are they not looking for the new party if they want to confront IOC? I'm telling you now, APC cannot confront IOC because of what he's doing in Ekiti. He's performing, the man is performing. One of them can withstand it. IOC. Cut me and write it down. God bless you.
Tell me for your contribution. Cyril, you want to wrap up your thoughts?
Yes, I mean, if you even listen to what he was saying now. Basically, I was saying that there's a place to draw the line between a legitimate personal interest and when, like she said, the oligarchs are attempting to deprive you of what rightly belongs to you. You have the right to seek redress. You have the right to seek justice, whether it means leaving the party or whatever it is you want to do. It's fine. But there is also the question of where the party has no culture, has no system. Parties are supposed to have programs where, in the US, for instance, the GOP, the Republican Party, has a college wing. People naturally graduate from the college wing into the mainstream. So you know when you are ready to contest for governorship, you know when you're ready to contest for the House of Assembly, for Congress and so on. The current spokesman to Donald Trump said that Sanders grew up like that. You know, and but the fact is that here in Nigeria, it's a different ball game. Because from the very foundations, we have it very wrong. And so you find that eventually, this same APC, when they were the opposition party, you know, their acts were put together. They had everything going for them. They came to Surulere, the stadium here, and held a very transparent, very clean primaries that produced Buhari as their candidate for 20. Yep. Are you also noticing that in Osun last Saturday, the PDP held a rally? It was very, it was smooth. They say this same PDP, I think on Tuesday, on Wednesday, held its own primary in Ekiti. Yeah. And it was very smooth and transparent. And Fayose was even mocking the APC that if they didn't mind, he would keep Okowa down.
But then, someone, Dayo Adeyeye, dumped the party, saying that the Governor Fayose was imposing a candidate on them.
Sorry, okay, you want
yes,
to
I'm throwing that question to her.
It's not only, like I said...
it's not just about
a particular party. That's exactly what I want to try to tell my colleagues. It's not only about a particular party. It's all over. All parties are they're all doing the same thing in the sense that internal democracy is not in place.
You see, but...
let her finish up.
So individual interest is what is always... That individual interest always trump than others. Because when we want to look into internal democracy, everybody should have the right to aspire for a position or the other. And there should be internal democracy in place. So everybody should go through the same procedures. One should not be, let's say, one should not be higher than others. It should be the same level, no matter the interest. So those are the issues we are having all over the country in the sense of all parties. So it's not only APC. So it's everywhere. PDP is also doing the same thing. You see, that is what Governor Fayose is trying to do. He's trying to impose his deputy.
No.
That's exactly what I'm saying. He's trying to impose his deputy as well.
If you are saying no, then why did the Dayo decide to move?
There are many reasons that that can be adduced. I told you from the beginning that if people have done their homework We beamed that Ekiti PDP primaries
Did you
on
listen
live
to what
TV.
he
No.
said? Did you listen to what he said of being
You please
denied
hold-
to be able to canvass for votes?
No, but please hold. See, that as far as I'm concerned, that's an allegation to be proven. So it's there. I mean, when people want to leave the party for another party, they can say so many things. It's fine. And I don't begrudge Ayodele. I'm not a party. I'm not a member of the PDP. I'm not from Ekiti State. But I'm only saying that the process was on live TV.
Of course.
And it was transparent. So if Ayodele feels that, look, and again, you can't take away the fact that, you see, the political process is not a simple thing. It's complex. When interests, when the party structure has coalesced behind a candidate, he will win.
He will win, definitely.
He will win. It's not a problem. If an order comes today and says, everybody queue behind this person and work for him, he will win.
He will win.
But the fact is, was the process free and fair? Yes. If Ayodele feels that, look, he can leave the party, the PDP in Ekiti, maybe go to Labour or go to the Social Democratic Party
Wherever
or
he
go to
wants to
any
go,
party he wants to go to, and he can win. If indeed Ayodele goes to any party and defeats Eleka in a public contest, maybe Eleka and Fayemi, Eleka and Shegun, or whoever emerged from the PDP in public contest, that would have been the beauty of democracy on display.
Exactly.
All right.
But where that doesn't happen, you see,
We have a caller on the line quickly. Alex from Taraba, are you there? Go ahead. Okay,
sorry,
quickly wrap up
so
your thoughts.
yes, so you see, if he goes out and wins, it will be the beauty of democracy on display. It happened in Kaduna, one of the senatorial districts. I think it happened in Lagos too, for one of the House of Reps seats. But the fundamental thing is that, assuming the process was riddled with all kinds of irregularities, candidates couldn't vote, like she was talking about, where you have your ticket but you can't go out to vote and so on. If that happened, then it will be clear that someone has been robbed, has been rigged out, and that redress should be sought.
Let's quickly take this break, and the discussion will continue. Stay with us. You're still watching A Standpoint. Now, some members of the APC who call themselves New PDP and PDP are screaming blue murder, accusing the party of marginalization. Now, there's every possibility that some of these politicians will jump ship. What does this say about our kind of politics, or the kind of politics we play here? Jumping ship, cross-carpeting. The NPDP, wrote a letter saying, airing their grievances and wanted to have a meeting with the president and Odige Oyegun, saying that despite all that they have contributed, they weren't recognized and, in certain key positions, and they are trying to call for a meeting to meet with the president to determine, okay, ahead of the National Congress, that they need to have a meeting. Now, what does this say of the kind of politics we play in Nigeria, our political leanings? Is it about what I get if I offer you something, or democracy that we say we practice is supposed to be about the people, but more what we see is about I'm offering you this, what do I get in return?
Actually, what I can say is that in a political party, it shouldn't work that way. People should be able to get any appointment through what they have offered, and let me put it this way, their contribution to the party, in the sense that their activities during the struggle. Let me just put it struggle, because a lot of members are grieved because we have so many members that they partake in all aspects of elections, whatever, and there. And by the time the election is over, we can see that many people that went in the struggle, we just come from overseas, let's say like from London, from UK, and all that, and they'll be given a place. So obviously, a member will be aggrieved. How can I put all my effort, my energy into helping the party.
So are you saying
win.
their grievances are valid?
Definitely they are valid, definitely. Because when you're on ground to participate in an election, it's just about whatever you have given it to the party. Your members, financially, emotionally, your time and everything. And someone will just come from anywhere and will be given a place. Obviously, you'll be aggrieved. So definitely you have to come to the table and talk about it.
But why wait till this time, Cyril? Can't the president resolve this matter?
Very good question. In fact, that was where I was going to come in from. It's an ambush, and it's a proper, well-timed ambush. And you see, when you look at the characters, because I don't believe in talking about politics from the textbook point of view, I like talking about it very practically, very pragmatically. Like she said, if in the US, campaign ceiling, that is what somebody cannot donate more than, for any campaign, for instance, came into focus when W. Clement Stone donated $10 million to Nixon's campaign. And what did he want? Ambassadorship to the UK. All the juicy. When Americans found out, they said, look, we need to put a ceiling to what? If you didn't need my support, if you didn't need my money to win the election, why did you take it in the first place?
Exactly.
You are indebted. There is no, in fact, they call it the trickle-down effect.
Really?
Of course, if I can command 2 million voters from Lagos State alone, and you come to me and say, look, I want a structure, I want to support, I take a picture with you, it appears in the media, my supporters understand that this is where our boss is going. When you win the election, even if it is not me, I should be able to provide a financial expert that can be on a board or something, because a political structure must be oiled. That is the truth about it. We're not talking about corruption here.
No.
It's a give and take process. But let's come away from all of that. We know even Bola Tinubu one time discussed the algebra or mathematical formula that led to the formation of the APC and gave them the clincher to beat the PDP. After the NPDP governors decamped, it was a crucial deciding turnaround moment for the APC because it was that, I mean, you're talking about people like Kwankwaso, you're talking about people like Amechi, you're talking about, it was when they decamped, these were forces to reckon with. In Kano State alone, Buhari got 100% of the vote.
Exactly, he did.
Not even in 1979, Shagari didn't get 100%. In fact, Kano State was the boiling pot that made Awolowo to go to court and say the Supreme Court should decide what was 2/3 of 19 states. It was in 1993, Abiola beat Tofa, hands down, in Kano. But Buhari became the first northern candidate to win Kano State 100%. So people worked for it. Whether you say it was rigged, people worked for it. So if they are coming up to say that they worked for this and that they're not getting something in it, I think you need to sit down and listen. Because
can he address this situation at this time, seeing that there are so many grievances?
You think I should answer that for Buhari?
I'm asking you. It's a question. That is why you're here.
My concern is this. They have had a meeting with Oyegun, which is a very serious issue.
I know.
And they have said that they need to have a meeting in the next 7 days, as at when they wrote the letter. So, fine. Let them have, for all you care, the message is a family affair. Let them sit down as a family and discuss this whole issue. Otherwise, we may just be on the threshold of 2019, and you suddenly find that there is a reason for the SDP, the ADC, the PDP,
new party,
all of them, all of them, including the T and Gari party, to come together and say they are now
forming one party.
One party. Now, quickly, Honorable, now you know that Olagunsoye Oyinlola actually resigned his position and also said he was going to leave the party. Now, what does this portend for the APC as a whole, seeing that the states that seem to be under this NPDP, like Cyril mentioned, Sokoto, Kano, Kwara, Adamawa, and Rivers, are key states that helped, the APC come into power? What does this portend for the party? If he says he's leaving, and the other give members to the same line.
What I can say to this is, like you said, when aggrieved members if someone is going to decamp from one party to another, obviously that person is having his or her followers that are ready to follow him to the new party he or she is going to. Because the person cannot say, I want to decamp without having lots of followers. You must have done your homework. So if someone that is so eligible and so strong in a party is moving away, is determined to the party. Let's just be frank with each other. So what I think is parties need to look into these grievances and try to reckon and try to reconcile. And
do you think reconciliation is actually on the table for most of this political elite to ensure that there is peace ahead of the 2019?
I cannot say yes or no, but I believe it's up to the leaders to do that. You see, if they see that this person is valuable to us and we need him in 2019, then they have to come round to the table and try to work a way out.
No, Siri, you want to say something?
A time comes when the wind actually closes. It closed between Jonathan and Amechi. But I think that fundamentally, as they will say in politics, she's a politician, so she understands what I'm going to say now. That interests, there are no permanent enemies, right?
There's no permanent enemies.
And that's why they can shamelessly move from the PDP to the APC and from the APC back to the PDP, when these parties are supposed, at least for the sake of what it's worth, are supposed to be ideologically different. They are all the same. Because no matter how beautifully you write a constitution, no matter how well you write a manifesto, in the end, if the human element in the process has not imbibed and adopted those values, it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
So eventually, a lot of, and I think that when they do this, it will also help to douse the tension in the land ahead of the next elections. Somebody needs to wake up somewhere and take the initiative to say, how do we get back the political elite together? Those that are still within range of reintegration, let us find a way to reintegrate them.
Exactly.
Because if you let this NPDP leave the APC, it is going to be a big problem. Look, this thing is never a question of whether we win the election or not. It is to create a scenario that makes you know that we are also here.
We are also here, exactly.
It's important. You saw what happened in Port Harcourt yesterday, where the High Court was going to deliver judgment, and then all of a sudden, we had our talks from different parties in a matter that was that particularly related to a particular party. Talk from another party, they were all there. There were shootings, there were stoning, there were breaking bottles. Sometimes it's not even a question of who will win or not. It's a question of proving a point that, look, we can create a disequilibrium of power.
Exactly.
And make you work harder than you should work before you can get what you want to get. And in the end, it doesn't help the people. It creates this instability and chaos.
That's where I'm headed, because at the core of all of this, democracy is supposed to be about the people, government of the people, by the people, for the people, and that. But then, where all of this is happening, where the political elite is seemingly having all of this intra-party politics and all of it, how do we enjoy the dividends of democracy? Where do we have a consensus to ensure that the people who are supposed to be the beneficiaries of all of this enjoy dividends of democracy? Honorable, quickly.
That is very hard, because the minority elite, if you look at a political party, you will see the minority having the say and the way, while the majority are not having their ways. In the sense that it's going to be very difficult for we to actualize this, because the minority are the elite, and their voice are always heard because they have the power to do that. Why the majority are suffering? Because their voice are not heard. That is why we have a lot of issues going around in all political parties. So the only way we can resolve this is for all minority needs to listen to the voices of the majority to make everything to work. All right. But without that, I don't think there's a solution. I don't think there's a solution.
Cyril?
Yes, very briefly. You see, the discussion has been about intra-party and party issues. That is not the only way to get power. We should have amended the system to give way for independent candidates on the one hand. And on the other hand, also make sure that the political process is made proper. If you can rig elections in your party, it means you can rig it publicly. Let's also tighten up the process so that people can't rig elections anymore.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you, Cyril, for coming on the program. And that's it on today's edition of Standpoint. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch a repeat of this edition tomorrow by 7 a.m. I'm Veronica Danny Boy. Enjoy your weekend.